This video provides an overview and startup instructions for the Conquest 100-gallon series water heaters with the new EOS electronic operating system. This training covers Conquest non-modulating models with inputs of 199,000, 250,000, and 300,000 BTU per hour. The video content includes required tools and instruments, pre-start checklist, startup, burner combustion adjustment, changing the temperature set point, and the Conquest startup report. Detailed installation guidelines are included in the Conquest Installation and Maintenance Manual PV 500-70 furnished with the product or at our website pvi.com. The following tools and instruments are required to start up the Conquest water heater. You will need flat and Phillips head screwdrivers, an adjustable wrench, 3/16 inch and 7/32 inch Allen wrenches, a 6-foot step ladder, 2 U-tube manometers or pressure gauges that are capable of reading both positive and negative pressure, a stacked draft gauge, an electronic combustion analyzer, a digital multimeter, and a 1/8 inch MPT pilot shutoff test valve. If you don't have or don't know how to properly use these tools and instruments, do not attempt startup. Refer startup to a qualified technician. Before starting the water heater, ensure that the unit is installed properly and completely. If your unit is not installed properly, do not attempt startup. Contact your installer immediately. Before starting the unit, you will need to check for adequate electrical service, confirm if any external control wiring connections exist, confirm the tank is filled with water, check all tank connections for leaks, and ensure the condensate trap is installed properly and that the gas supply meets the product rating decal requirements. We will briefly review each area in detail. Start by checking the electrical service. Confirm that the voltage supplied to the water heater is a 120 volt, single phase, 60 Hz, 5 amp power supply that is also electrically grounded. Next, shut off the electrical service to the unit and turn the water heater power switch to the off position. Now unscrew and remove the 2 top cover plates and check to make sure that the wiring is correct on the field access terminal board at the top of the unit. The Conquest control system is polarity sensitive. Be sure the hot side of the 120 volt AC or the black wire is connected to terminal L1, that the neutral white wire is connected to terminal L2, and the green ground wire is connected to the grounding bar. Visually check that all components are intact and no damage has occurred during transit and installation. Check all wire connections within the control cabinet. A loose connection could cause intermittent shutdowns. Before initial startup, the heater must be isolated from any remote controlling device. On the field access terminal strip, check to see if terminals R1 and R2 are jumped. If they are, nothing more needs to be done. If the terminals are not jumped but have wires connected to them, this indicates that a remote on-off relay is controlling the water heater from the building automation system. These wires must be removed prior to startup and the terminals must be jumped. Remember to remove the jumper and reconnect the remote wires after startup is complete. Confirm the tank is completely filled with water. Important. Using the T&P relief valve alone to vent the tank will not allow the tank to completely fill. First, open a nearby hot water faucet to allow trapped air to escape from the piping. A steady flow from a hot water faucet indicates the tank is full. You can now close the hot water faucet. With the tank filled, check the tank flanges and pipe thread connections to ensure they are watertight and tighten as necessary to avoid leaks that will damage the tank insulation. The 100-gallon Conquest models contain 8 bolt-on bronze tank flanges sealed by an O-ring gasket. A removable adhesive decal covers the jacket opening at each flange location. If required, retighten the leaking bolt-on flange to a maximum torque of 11 foot-pounds. These tank flanges are located at the hot water outlet, safety limits, cold water inlet, operating control, TNP relief valve, building return, tank circulator, and the drain valve. A condensate trap ships with the unit and must be installed on the condensate drain to prevent flue gases from escaping and creating a hazardous condition in the installed space. The condensate drain is located on the flue outlet at the bottom front of the water heater. Connect the condensate trap assembly to the PVC fitting on the flue outlet. Then rotate the trap so that it contacts the floor. Connect 1/2 inch ID clear vinyl tubing rated for 170 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, or an optional condensate neutralization system to the barbed hose connection at the end of the condensate trap. Confirm the gas type supplied matches the rating label requirements on the front of the water heater. The Conquest water heater will require either natural or propane gas. If the available gas type is not correct, your unit will require a conversion. Contact the factory for instructions for converting to or from natural or propane gas. Warning: if you smell gas, do not try to light any appliance, do not try to touch any electrical switch or use a phone in your building. Immediately call your gas supplier and follow their instructions. For natural gas, the maximum inlet static gas pressure must not exceed 14 inches water column and must not drop below 3 1/2 inches water column during operation. For propane gas, the maximum inlet static gas pressure must not exceed 13 inches water column and must not drop below 8 inches water column during operation. To check the supply gas pressure, first shut off the main gas supply to the water heater. Ensure that both the manual gas valve at the burner and the manual gas valve at the inlet of the gas train is closed. Attach a 1/8 inch MPT pilot shutoff test valve to the test port on the manual shutoff valve at the inlet of the gas train. Attach a U-tube manometer or gas pressure gauge to the pilot shutoff test valve. Now open the main gas supply to the water heater and check for gas leaks on all joints upstream of the manual shutoff gas valve. Open the 1/8 inch pilot shutoff test valve and measure the gas supply pressure. If the supply gas pressure is outside of the allowable range, notify the building maintenance personnel or installer to reduce the gas pressure to the water heater. Now open the manual gas shutoff valve at the inlet of the gas train and check the gas train for leaks using a soap solution. If any bubbles are detected, close the manual gas valve and tighten the leaking connection. Open the manual gas shutoff valve at the inlet of the gas train and check for leaks again. We will now review the startup process. These instructions should be followed in exact order to achieve safe and efficient operation of the product. Detailed startup instructions are included in the Conquest Installation and Maintenance Manual, PV 500-70. Begin by turning the Conquest power switch to the off position. Drill a small test hole in the flue vent approximately 2 feet from the appliance vent connection. Insert the combustion analyzer probe into the vent test hole. Important: before restarting the unit, ensure there is a way for the system to dissipate heat. This can be accomplished by opening one or more nearby hot water faucets. With the manual gas valve at the burner closed, turn on the electrical service to the water heater, and then turn the Conquest power switch to the on position. The EOS temperature control touchscreen will energize. If the tank temperature is 5 degrees or more below the factory set point of 120 degrees, the call for heat sequence will initiate. With no gas pressure, the ignition control will attempt to ignite the burner 3 times before proceeding to a safety shutoff. Following the third failed attempt, the display screen immediately shows a lockout condition has occurred. In a few seconds, an error code flashes in the status field and a flame fail alarm message is displayed, followed by the troubleshooting message, ignition trial fail, which scrolls across the top of the screen. Now open the manual shutoff gas valve at the burner. Then push and release the main reset button on the front panel of the water heater to recover from the lockout condition. If all control interlocks and safeties are satisfied, the control will automatically reset and attempt to start a new heating cycle. When the call for heat sequence begins, the burner blower is energized. The status field of the display screen shows that the air switch is waiting to be closed by the air pressure generated by the blower. When the air switch closes, the ignition pre-purge sequence and high surface igniter heat-up period begins. The blower message is displayed as the pre-purge countdown begins. Following a pre-purge at high surface igniter heat-up countdown of about 39 seconds, a 4-second trial for ignition period is initiated. During this sequence, the screen displays ignition while the gas valves are being energized. When ignition occurs and flame is proven, the status field shows the burner is firing and the flame current is displayed in microamps for about 8 seconds. The burner will continue to fire until the unit reaches its set point temperature. The control temperature sensed at the top of the tank will continue to display throughout the burner run cycle and after shutdown when the unit is satisfied and idle. If at any point carbon monoxide is in excess of 200 parts per million, contact PVR Customer Care for assistance. With the burner firing, now measure the flow gas pressure at the beginning of the gas train. If the inlet flow gas pressure for natural gas is equal to or greater than 3.5 inches water column, or if the flow gas pressure for propane gas is equal to or greater than 8 inches water column, continue with the startup. If the inlet flow gas pressure drops below these minimum requirements, a supply gas volume or piping problem may exist and must be corrected before the startup can continue. With the burner firing, monitor the combustion analyzer readings. The desired carbon dioxide level, CO2, in the combustion products must be between 8.5 and 9.5% for natural gas and between 9.5 to 10.5% for propane gas. If the level is in this range, no adjustment is required or recommended. If the level must be adjusted, turn the slotted brass gas valve orifice screw counterclockwise to increase gas flow and increase CO2, or clockwise to decrease gas flow and decrease CO2. Manifold pressure should only be used as a reference point if required. No regulator adjustments should be necessary for these Conquest models. With the combustion properly adjusted, now use the same vent opening that was used for the combustion analyzer probe to measure the vent pressure. With the burner firing, confirm the vent pressure does not exceed 1/2 inches water column. Pressure in excess of 1/2 inches water column indicates a venting issue that must be addressed by the installer before operating the water heater. Your Conquest startup is now complete. To change the water heater set point, from the View menu, press and hold the Home button for 3 seconds to enter the Control System menu. The first menu displayed is the Setup menu. Touch the Enter button. The first menu displayed is the Set Point menu. Use the up and down arrow buttons to change the set point value. To save the new value, touch the Next Item or Item Back buttons or exit the menu by pressing the Home button. The startup report furnished with this water heater must be completed and sent to the manufacturer to register the installation address and the start date of the product warranty. The information on the startup report is required. All voltages, fuel, pressure, temperature, and combustion parameters must conform to the manufacturer's specifications. Failure to ensure and document that the equipment is operating in a safe and reliable manner may cause property damage, personal injury, or death. For additional product information and assistance, please visit our website at pvi.com or contact PVI Technical Support at 1-800-433-5654.